Hello and welcome to The Third Rail. I'm Sarah, here with Nick and Sacha. Later in the show, Valentine's Day, and watch out, there's a Hitler impersonator on the loose. But first, the Q Society dinner. What a controversial event that was. So the Q Society, which is an anti-Islam group, held a fundraising dinner to raise money to fight a defamation lawsuit brought against it and some of its members. And there are a number of prominent speakers at this event who said some pretty outrageous things about Muslims and gay people.
Ross Cameron was there, wasn't he?
Ross Cameron was there, Angry Anderson, they were the ones in Sydney, Larry Pickering too, and we had, I think, Corey Bernardi and George Christensen in Melbourne.
Yep.
Nick, what's your take on it? Free speech?
Well, yeah, free speech. I should just clarify, I believe the defamation suit's against Kirralie Smith, and she's the leader of the Allah Party, the ALA. She's been kicking around with Angry for a while. Yeah. They campaigned together, I don't know, in the last few months. But anyway, what else do these people have to say? That's my question. Like, you can get up, you can say all these like nasty things about people that nobody got behind. There was no public support, no going like, yeah, man, I really liked your homoerotic spiel about ancient Rome.
What was one of the quotes from the meeting was, you know, we don't like Muslims, but you got to give them a bit of credit. At least they push pillow biters off buildings or something.
People were like, people understandably, they were shocked and they were pissed off, but
not the people there though.
Yeah, well, I
maybe
think
some of them were.
I think there would have been people who would have been shocked there.
I just wonder when they campaign for free speech, what do they want the right to say? Because clearly they can say whatever they want, and they are. And people, what's the reaction we're meant to be having here? Am I meant to applaud you for saying awful things and say, I'm glad that you can say that in this society?
Yeah, but you have to admit, it's building steam. This sort of, it's an ideology now. You know, it's been pretty much pushed from the other end of the world to here. People are getting more confidence and they feel like that if they're not able to come out and say these things, then it's going against their democratic rights, which in some ways is true. But at the same time, when you've got on your website that your principles of Australian culture, of things like fair go and mateship, and then in the next breath you go out of your way to totally contradict that. I mean, it boggles the mind.
Yeah.
And the other thing too I thought was interesting was that the location of at least the Melbourne meeting was completely secret. And so people had to go to St Kilda, get on a bus, and then they were taken to the place, which I thought was really interesting. These are people who want to talk about free speech and, you know, they want to defend free speech, but they want to keep their meetings secret to keep protesters out.
And on top of that, they revoked the invites they'd put out to the press after what happened in Sydney. So they invited like the Herald and whoever to go along, and then got up and said like, thanks for coming from the Sydney Morning homosexual. I just gave like those speeches were ridiculous. I'm actually less concerned at some level with like the anti-Muslim and the anti-gay sentiments than just how little sense people on those podiums are making.
I know, it sort of makes you wonder. Like I was always of the view, and I'm starting to change my mind about it, that you've got to shut down these sorts of groups, because I do think that they have the potential to cause real damage to the fabric of society. But you know, when I heard what was being said, I thought, you know, let them
undo themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Maybe let them say it, and they'll just fall apart.
I think if you actually go against them having that right to say what they want, it makes the people who are trying to censor them look even worse than them. You know, so you got to just let them do what they do, because everyone else is. If I don't like the colour blue, I'm allowed to say that. Well, this is pretty much the same thing. But one thing that I've noticed is that the university has to be held accountable here. Victoria. Well, what university was it? Was it Victoria University?
Where it was held.
Yeah, that's right. And they've come out and said that they're going to be reviewing the administrative processes here to find out what actually happened and how these people actually got into the university and had the event there. But I actually thought, how can you organise this thing without knowing who's coming into the campus, right? And not only that, how much security? You saw that the people actually had to be taken through a secret route. This all takes organisation, preparation, and especially for security personnel, they have to have plans and these sorts of things so they can sort of figure out how things are going to be done logistically. Yeah. So I think the university has a lot to answer for.
How did this happen, and what does the Q stand for?
It's a very good question.
I don't know, but there's no I in front of it, which I think is.
Says a lot. It says a lot.